Ivory does not bleed, Victor. Flesh does.
Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein is here. And there's a lot of red, and there's a lot of white, and it means a lot of things at a lot of times. Is Frankenstein Polish? Or Japanese? Or Bahraini? Or Singaporean? Or Georgian? Or Colgate toothpaste? Let's find out. So let's start at the start. Victor's early life is nothing if not clear. Not necessarily happy, but clear. His father is powerful, revered, and mostly absent. The preeminent surgeon of his day. Under his tutelage, Victor is taught anatomy and the natural sciences, rationality, order, everything in its proper place with its proper purpose, and he will remember.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Ivory does not bleed, Victor. Flesh does. By the time you remember a fact, your patient could be dead.
It's no coincidence ivory is the spoil of hunters. The anatomical model signifies the cadaver, the stiff emptiness of death. Victor is taught a world of flesh and ivory, a binary world, an empirical world of cause and effect. White is clarity, logic, fact. The white world is order, for better and for worse. A sanitized academia. Productively educational, but regimented and austere. Cruelly cold. But the rest of the time...
Victor?
Father?
The rest of the time, Mother was mine.
Red is love. And love is warm. It's raw and undefinable. It can't be quantified and memorized. And just remember, Victor really, really loves his mother. Just keep that in mind. The ivory model is a predictable, shapeable abstraction of reality, a hollow simulation. Red is the real thing. Red represents an emotionality that feels, and white, a calculation that thinks. The progeny of these two dichotomous aspects, Victor embodies the battleground of these two schools of being, an amalgam of red and white. This two-tonality will soon become physical when his mother is suddenly dead, smearing her blood over Victor as she reaches out for his company and dragged out by Victor's father, who does not save her. And with the red marking of his shirt, Victor is forever marked by her death. As Victor's mother is lowered into her burial ground, her vital, loving red is sealed in apathetic white marble.
My mother, whom I had come to consider a part of my very self. She who I thought would never leave. She who was life. Was now death. Her eyes extinguished. Her smile feeding the cold earth.
White is symbolic of that cold earth, an absence. Victor's response to this is to rage against the dying of the light, to rebel against this whitening of his red mother. In the face of a cold, white world, red is passion. A world devoid of passion is a world devoid of love, warmth, and expression. A world defined by its comfortable symmetry, by reliable structure, in a world limited by rigidity. This means that this world, constructed from the inflexible, has no response to, no bandwidth for, radical ideas. And an isometric idea takes hold of Victor, hitherto draped in delicate white, who then explodes out from its white marble walls, in a reaction catalyzed by red love. Victor is speaking from his own experience when he later says,
"Ignite a divine spark in these young students' minds. Teach them defiance rather than obedience."
The red stain of his mother's death can now never be scrubbed from his white shirt, metaphorically. And his study, following in his father's footsteps, is polluted by this unquenchable red, which is now incorporated into all of his outfits going forward. Looking good, Vic. And, as for that divine spark, Victor begins to have visions of what he calls the Dark Angel, a figure symbolizing the immortalized ideal of his mother, the icon of the guardian angel statue he used to pray to when his parents fought, a shrine to his mother's safety, transforms into a divine manifestation of her influence. Victor confronts his mother turning white by envisioning a mythologized representation of an eternally red mother. She's never been more red. The image of an undying love, which becomes Victor's North Star. His life now has a new pursuit.
I was born anew that night. I saw, for the first time, the dark angel, and it made me a promise. I would have command over the forces of life and death.
In service of reaching his angel of death. In the illuminating daylight of his life's new dawn, the statue has never been redder. Red? The colour of life, vitality. And there's all kinds of red at play in Victor's creation of life. The red batteries, the red uniformed corpses which are harvested, and of course the blood and exposed muscle. All conveying the residual life force left behind, and the impending perpetuation of an immortal new one. But this overwhelming redness is set against the languid white background of the crafted new body, a colourless mosaic. And despite the successful reanimation of his creation, this lifelessly pale appearance serves to continually reiterate the miraculous paradox of his birth. At this crucial juncture, Victor is visited by the Dark Angel, the manifestation of Victor's lust for prescribed life. The Red Angel convenes with Victor in order to ensure Victor's appraisal of his success. Waking up, draped in the colour of his life's mission, the colour of his mother's love, Victor has attained the possibility of filial love. All he has to do is embrace his son, and he'll have achieved his fervent dream of an eternal love. All he has to do is to reach out, make contact, and connect. Victor, however, has internalized his father's lesson.
There's no spiritual content in tissue and no emotion in a muscle.
As such, Victor extrapolates this philosophy onto his construction of life. Mere hours ago, they were loose body parts, mounds of disused flesh, and so Victor comprehends his creation as if it were the ivory model he'd learned with. To Victor, he has simply enlarged this unbleeding, unfeeling approximation of humanity. He expects the white figure and treats the creature as such. Ironically, in one sense of the red figure, he has reproduced another who shares the constitutional longing he himself is emblematic of. We'll call him Adam. It feels rude to call him the creature, let alone Frankenstein's monster. He's not a monster. He shared berries with that deer. Leaf!
A leaf? For me? Thank you.
And symbolically, first life of a new form of human being. First book he reads is the Bible.
I read about a man named Adam and a woman named Eve.
Victor is associated with God.
We are not gods, are we?
Only monsters play God, Baron.
Harlander gets it.
As we give life to our new Adam.
And as Adam can be defined as a propagation of Victor's self, Victor's lack of self-understanding extends into a misunderstanding of him. There is a tragic discrepancy between Victor's idea of creating life and his understanding of what the film contends true life is. As Guillermo presents, life is defined by love. The loss of Victor's mother's life left a major wound in Victor's psyche. Ergo, he resolves to circumvent death. But the loss of life wasn't the inherent cause for this wound. It was a commensurate loss of love. As such, Victor is blinded from the awareness that he has, in fact, fulfilled the promise of the Dark Angel, but is nevertheless oblivious due to his inherited empirical consideration of life. This misidentification ensures Victor cannot reconcile that he has created a love, i.e., a life. He cannot distinguish between the clinical white definition of life and the emotional red definition of life. His deficient emotional intelligence occludes his ability to perceive the true gravity of events, and as such leaves him stranded halfway to understanding. In response, the Red Angel visits Victor one last time. The masked memorial, the divinized symbol of his mother, disavows him, as the pretense of resurrecting love has been neglected in Victor's neglect of the infant Adam. She removes her mask to reveal the hollowed out skull of death, a visualization of the unfulfilled pursuit of love. In failing to provide love, Victor has failed to revive his mother's symbolic love. Through white clinicality, he has failed to truly support life, as love is a requisite for life. Therefore, symbolic resurrection incomplete, Victor is discarded by his muse. And now, his mother is truly dead. Responding to the Red Angel's purpose with white ivory philosophy, he totally fumbled it. And just remember, all that is red. His mother's red, love is red, life is red, his gloves are red, the milk's not red. Victor's Freudian milk obsession, symbolizing his constant yearning for his lost mother and that absent love it represents, that's white. But milk is white. If there was red milk, he'd have been drinking that, I'm sure. Not everything can be red, you know. Strawberry milk, maybe. Seriously, look how much milk he drinks. He even orders it from the ammunition.
I need ammunition. Sharpen this. Some firewood. And 6 sticks of dynamite.
6. What are you hunting?
3 cans of condensed milk.
Strong bones, I guess. Flesh and bones. Right, guys?
It was flesh and bone.
Anyway, I got more red and white for you. Now we see the formation of a new character dynamic, and with it, a new red-white dichotomy. Victor's established red passions, his malignant ambition, now stands for the
very conflagration that devoured everything.
A raging destructive force, a wildfire. Very red. Contrast this to the purer man.
What if in being in you the spirit that animates him is simpler, purer than that of the common man?
Now we have a battle of the souls. The red soul, selfish ambition, lust, exploitation. The white soul, curiosity, selflessness, love, awe. Innocence versus guilt in human forms. White harmony versus red want. Balance and imbalance. Insufficiency, etc. Victor's want of Elizabeth is to fill a void, an act of consumption even. But Mr. Pure over here, Elizabeth connects with Adam, and vice versa, out of a kindred spirit.
Moving with nature, perhaps the rhythms of God. I've always searched for something more pure, marvelous.
They're on the same earnest curiosity wavelength. If we want to get spiritual for a second. White represents the crown chakra, the energy center related to divinity, wisdom, and enlightenment. Red represents the root chakra, the energy center related to earthly concerns, grounded, mortal, simpleton concerns. Adam's otherworldly purity is what resonates with Elizabeth. His cutie patootiness, if you will. In a world of selfish scheming, cutie patootiness is otherworldly. But red reality stains white fantasy, like the ivory doll.
Move away from it!
This purity of white is not sustainable in a world of red.
My place was never in this world. I sought and longed for something I could not quite name. But in you I found it. To be lost and to be found. That was the lifespan of love, and in its brevity, it's a tragedy. This has been made eternal. Better this way. To fade. With your eyes gazing upon me.
There's a distinct separation between this purity and Red's mortality. Adam's perpetual deathly corpse paleness. Without red blood, there's no visual language of mortal life, but Adam does bleed. As a white cadaver, anytime blood spills out of him, the wound closes itself. Adam's curse of regeneration, whilst literally preventing his death, in the long run at least, symbolically returns him to a white, loveless state. If love is, by Elizabeth's definition, defined by its brevity, then Adam, defined by his permanence, is eternally prohibited from a lifetime of love. Cursed to love only in fleeting cuts and gashes, trapped in a cycle of red and white, of infinite loss which can never be mortally resolved.
There was silence again. And then, merciless life.
Adam represents a theoretical harmony of red and white, as the character with most pure love to give, which is, however, trapped inaccessibly within him. Unable to realise his dreams of love, Adam cashes in all his red love chips he's unable to spend, and exchanges them for red rage chips to be spent on his revenge. Substituting one redness
If you are not to award me love,
for another,
then I will indulge in rage.
Adam undergoes a parallel progression, regression, as Victor, his counterpart. A reddening, which sees him descend into a hateful lovelessness, and a pursuit of filling the void with power. The snowy white blanket, symbolic of a new beginning, tainted by resentment, rage, and guilt. The thing with snow, though, is it keeps falling.
Have you never seen the snow, my dear friend? It makes the world clean and new.
The desolate snowscape, a topographical clean slate. Nowhere else to run, and both trapped in Arctic limbo, the pair put all their cards on the table. The white snowfall resets the scene, Tipexing the blood trails away, and recycling the world. It's in this environment of white that Victor's red insecurities and regrets give way to white, pure acceptance of his son. The cleansing snow of understanding washes away the red fury. And in this reconciliation,
My son.
Victor finds his peace. For Adam, however, unable to reach a mortal resolution. The dream of potential love promises to alleviate his desolate heart as a red sun rises on Adam and his lonely white world. There's also a bunch of stuff to say about the film's use of black, green, and blue. Maybe next time.